So let's get into what a micro interaction is. Depends being small micro interactions have the power to make the experience of your product more effective and human. So let's take a look at the definition of a micro interaction. Micro interactions are content product moments that are meant to for a single use case. And those little moments are a large part of our daily interactions with products. So think every time you're setting your alarm could be just like a little notches over here, setting those or checking your notifications, having something pop up, or something like that, or adding something to your online cart. You are engaging with the micro interactions when you're doing all these different types of things. A well-designed micro interaction will make the user experience smooth and easy. Micro interactions can be a great tool for communicating the tone of your brand as well. Think of Facebook reactions. These can go on to be a part of your brand's signature moments that increase adoption and customer loyalty. It's really hard to think of brand like Facebook without these anymore, and even the thumbs up is synonymous with Facebook at this point. I know you all want to learn a little bit more about micro interactions, so we'll get right into it. There's a structure that makes micro interaction effective. It was created by Dan Stanford. His book, Micro Interactions Designing with Details. And there are four essential parts to a micro interaction, like we're looking at right now. There's the trigger rules, feedback, and modes, and loops. So let's get into what those are. So number one is the trigger. This is what starts the micro interaction. It could be a user-initiated trigger, like a user clicks a button or one of the icons that you see over here. It can be initiated by the actual product itself. Think of a notification that a user is getting. Number two, we get rules. These determine how micro interactions respond to a trigger, while also defining what happens during that interaction. So what happens when you tap an icon? Does it jiggle? Does it fail? Does the little ball indicate that it's active? Number three, we got feedback. This tells the user what is actually happening during a micro interaction. Inputting a wrong password and receiving an error, or putting the proper email and actually getting through the next form. This is a great way to alert users that they have done something wrong. It will guide them to proceed properly. And the last one is loops and modes. These are the meta rules of a micro interaction and how it changes when used. Understanding the structure of a micro interaction allows you to design one that make a difference. So with loops and modes, these rules could be like whenever you click something, does it change? every time you click it, or does it just repeat it? We're going to be talking about the elements are essentially a micro interaction. You may be thinking, it could encompass a substantial number of digital elements, and that's true. But not every element is part of the micro interaction. Things that don't move and are always static are not part of the micro interaction. Think entirely flows that have multiple actions are not micro interactions. Maybe those smaller actions in the flow are. And here are some examples of what micro interactions are. So scroll bars are considered micro interactions. A user triggers that scrolling. There's that visual feedback to a user changing the location on the page or an alarm. Assistant triggers that alarm and they're instantly feedback to some sort of time condition being met. Think interaction buttons, like if I click it, there is that feedback that something's happened, whether it's being pushed down or it turns into multiple buttons or multiple options. But if there's no feedback when the user clicks or hovers over a button, then there's really no micro interactions too. Think about the concept of pulling to refresh. A user triggers that by swiping downward and something sort of visual feedback happens, that there's loading, content, or even just general swiping. Swiping cards out of the view, like you can use in this example, the user triggers that, and there's a visual feedback to that. And lastly, another example is the notification. The system that the user is using is triggering that notification that something new is happening here. And there's an instant feedback like that little dot that pops up that provides the user with feedback of a new notification. Like I said, these are just 6 different examples. But there are so many more examples of elements that are moving or giving some sort of feedback after. A trigger that are micro interactions. We're going to be talking about how micro interactions actually impact the user experience. Micro interactions don't usually get a lot of attention during the product design process. They seem like these little small details of a broader user experience, and those small details have a significant impact on the impression your product has on its users, and in most cases, the difference between products we tolerate and products we love are the equality of the micro interactions. It's essential to put a lot of focus on designing the small moments. They provide feedback to user actions. Your product should be intuitive no matter what. That is what you should always strive for. Micro interactions are something that can help you achieve this, and they're good at providing feedback and keeping user informed. It's also vital to consider the user's journey when implementing these types of feedback. We need to look for places where the user might need feedback for reinsurance. Think about sending or transferring money like in this example below. And imagine if the user doesn't get some sort of success micro interaction or proceeding micro interaction or message when they click a button after sending that money. It could be really, really worrisome for some. They also help to prevent errors. Helping user deal with error states is a common UX practice, but it's much better to even prevent them from happening. When we think like this, we can create products that keep users in control of their own experience. Helping prevent form error is something we should all strive to do. When a user signs up to a new service or product, they often have to enter a username and password. Often they are met with errors after they click the submit button that tells the user that the username has been taken. We can easily handle this with inline validation. It saves users from potential extra work, like you see in this example right here, showing you that the password is too weak and it's meeting all the criteria as you fill it out or undoing. Sometimes we make mistakes and click things accidentally. Your product should make it easy for a user to undo that action, like you see here. Micro interactions communicate the state of components and suggest that further action is probably possible. It's one of the perfect way to support this. There's also seamless interactions that they could really help with. The less effort users need to invest in an interaction, the better usability of the product. This is why we strive to create seamless interactions that they don't require too much effort. Micro interactions can really help here. Swipe actions, like we have in this example. Swiping allows the user to easily move throughout a list instead of constantly tapping. It's so much more easier, or even in pulling to refresh. This is an excellent example of micro interaction that is triggered by the user. This allows the user to pull down a list of items to receive more information like emails or more posts. It makes the experience of browsing data much more smooth and manageable. Micro interactions definitely encourage engagement as well. Using emotion in your product design makes it possible to form a better connection with your user. Like animated feedback works really well here. Like a heart animation or confetti. For successful tests completed, it is possible to achieve a better result when a user achieves important goals or finish a task, and these moments can be reinforced with micro interaction. By doing this, you create a sense of achievement and can make that moment a little bit more special. And lastly, they can really help you communicate the tone of your brand. Micro interactions should always have a purpose, but that doesn't mean that they shouldn't be able to capture your brand. If your brand tone is fun, colorful, and joyful, it's okay to try to recreate that within your micro interactions. But this only works if it matches your branding. Could you imagine if you saw stuff like this with the banking institution? I don't think I would trust my money with them, but if that is your brand, like say Facebook, try to be fun, trying to be, a little silly at times. I think it definitely can really help reinforce that.